Welcome to this week's edition of Rugby Unfiltered. I'm your host, Jan de Koning, and as always with me, Eugene Eloff. Loffie, welcome.
Hi, Jan. Yes, thank you. From a wet and cold Paul. And if we look at the weekend just past that, we had mixed results, with the Sharks just coming short against Ospreys. And we'll talk about the winning teams later. And then, of course, the Stormers Connacht, which was difficult. But this weekend that just passed, the Bulls and the Lions carried our flag, which I thought is a 50%. It's a 50% win rate, but I think some of the teams just put themselves under pressure now to win all their last games to be in the playoffs. But I mean, and that's rugby. It again shows you that it's not predictable. Doesn't matter what team it is, who the coaches are. On a day, if you don't arrive and things don't work for you, it's really tough.
Yeah, I agree with you, Eugene. The important thing is the Lions played Glasgow this past weekend, and the Stormers played Connacht. Now they're swapping opponents, and that gives us a top of the table. Number one, Glasgow is a top place team at the moment, even though they lost, and the Stormers, despite their loss to Connacht, are also still second. So you've got a top of the table clash in Cape Town this week. It's a massive game. And I think, we'll touch on both coaches. We had a chance to speak to both coaches. I was there for John Dobson, and we got some audio back from Franco Smith. But it's a massive game. You mentioned that they have to win. It's not just in the playoffs, but for these two teams to finish first and second, they have to win their remaining games. And it's intriguing for me because they're playing each other, Stormers and Glasgow playing each other in Cape Town this coming Saturday. But then the Stormers travel to Ulster. So they play an away game to Ulster, while Glasgow is going to play Cardiff in Glasgow itself. So they've got a home game. Glasgow travel home and they host Cardiff. But the week thereafter, they swap around. Then the Stormers travel to Cardiff and Glasgow travels to Ulster. So it's going to be intriguing. That's why this game on Saturday is so big, because the loser could be in trouble for not finishing in the top two. And that means home ground advantage in the quarterfinals and semifinals.
Yes, Jan, you've just said it. You summarized it all. Every coach wants to play playoff games at home. It just shows, history has shown, statistics have shown that those are the teams that win. But I want to just stand still with the Stormers game that they had. Another interesting, the Stormers had a loss and Glasgow had a loss. So those teams it's going to be the clash of Titanics this weekend. It's going to be a massive game. But coming back to the Stormers game, and what Dobbo also said in his interview, it's so true. It's been a very emotional week with Chippy's passing and a lot of things. And on the day, a coach can do so much, but it just seemed to me the team per se did not perform like they can. And a few minor mistakes and bad decision making cost him. And there was also a lot of speculation about social media. And it is so. Social media is very, very dangerous. I used to tell my players, especially after a bad game or a loss, don't go onto social media, because 2/3 of the people that give comments, they don't know the game, they don't know what goes on behind the scenes, how much effort the coaches put in. Yeah, and on a day, you can arrive and things just don't happen for you. So I felt for the Stormers, and therefore I think, and what I like about Dobbo and about Franco as well, both of them just say, listen, we weren't good on the day. The opponents were better. We'll be back. And I believe they will sit and they'll be back this weekend, and both of them. And that makes this game, that clash, massive. And of course, Connacht, they'll be on a high, and the two teams that won are also playing in Johannesburg. So South African teams in South Africa, it's two massive games, Jan.
Yeah, you touched on it now, and we'll listen to John Dobson's press conference now, and we'll insert it just now. But he said something very interesting in the middle of all this. He spoke about his team is being curious because they do odd things. They don't always stick to the script. It's like some players just go off script, and Captain Ruan Nel as well. He also spoke about in the first half, they were making all the right decisions and they got themselves into good positions. They just didn't convert. And then in the second half, they made some weird decisions and strange calls. And I think the word that John Dobson used is a curious team. And the curiosity is that why can't they just stick to the script when they got it did so well in the first half? Why didn't they just stick to the script? What happened that they went off script? And that's a very interesting scenario. I mean, you probably know that you have those days where the players just don't seem to listen to you.
Yeah, I think it's not that they don't listen. And when I come to Connacht, they were not an easy team. They came with a mission. They came with self-belief. So if you have opponents that has done their homework on you, and they can enforce their pattern on yours that you cannot implement yours, then players start making silly or wrong decisions on wrong place on the field. And also when you're behind and time runs out, you're under pressure, and then is when you need to keep a calm head. So it was a close game, and I don't want to take it away from Connacht, who brought the game to the field. Yeah. And if you're a gambling man, most of the people would have said the Stormers should win this quite comfortably.
Yeah, I agree. I had the Stormers. Even when they scored that try early in the second half, I said to the gentleman next to me, that's the game. And the next minute, Connacht just came back. But strangely enough, after that, they didn't score again. They just, the Stormers just, something went awry. It's like, in Afrikaans, we got a good saying, die koppe hak uit. And there was a few players who started making curious decisions. So, yeah, I think now perhaps is a good time just to listen to John Dobson, and then we'll touch on Franco's approach. But let's listen to John and Ruan at how they speak about what went wrong and what they have to do for the rest of the season.
Massive. To get nothing out of today is very disappointing. Very, very. Yeah, we have to win all three to get where we want to be. That's much easier said than done. Glasgow 2 4Gs away against two teams competing for the top 8. So, yeah, put ourselves in a bit of position now. We have put ourselves in that position. It's amazing stuff out there in the second half in terms of we got them all on the ropes and we did a quick throw in back to Warwick. I think it was Warwick who received it absolutely smoked. You know what I mean? And David does the forward pass, scrum, up we go. I think they end up scoring. Warwick does the counter ruck, and then they end up scoring. So I thought we were very loose. We said at half time, let's be more direct, maybe maximum one pass. Then we took guys down this far side here in the start of the second half. Ball comes back, we shovel it back, ceiling penalty. Again. So we were something curious about us today that we felt like we needed to sort of invent to get it out. Whether it's a chip on the edge of our 22 or something, we feel like we needed to invent to beat them.
John, sorry, maybe you and Ruan can both answer this. You spoke a lot about something curious and all the mistakes and all this, but in my view, the main game drivers are the guys that's not making clear decisions or not making. Ruan, maybe you as well.
Look at that. After when we came in, the conversation was actually that there was no fault with our plan. I felt like the majority of the first half we were in there. Either in their half or in their 22, we just couldn't convert that to points. So I felt first off the game drivers were making the right decisions. I felt Sasha was kicking accurately. We were putting the power, isolating the backfield there. So I couldn't find any fault with our plan there. It's probably just the execution there. Second half, like Dobson said, probably got a little bit more individualistic. I don't know if we became desperate, but it's like I said to the team right now, I don't think we can fault the plan or the lack of understanding of the plan. That was 100% there. So. Probably one or two calls that came on second half that the team override, like the forwards probably felt they didn't want to more, wanted to get stuck into them with our carries. There's probably a lot of things we could pinpoint, but in saying that, like I said, there was plenty of opportunities for us to still get points and over the line there.
Yeah, John, how do you handle something like this? Do you go hard at the team? I know it's not your personality perhaps, but how do you rectify this to G them up or?
Yeah, it's a space I haven't got experience of. I think hopefully not many have. I was pretty direct with them after the game now. I just felt like we were just a bit, like Ruan said, a little bit individual out there. Some of them were absolutely flawless. Yeah, so I don't know. We're gonna have to. I'm gonna give you cliches. Yeah, but yeah, we also look at what I was really pleased about today was the defence. It's a really good Connacht attack, and if we give the try, we can argue about the pick and go try, the one we won't query, but then it's a chip we didn't cover, it's a restart we lost, and it's the intercept. So they didn't. I was pleased about that. Obviously, when you come with more points, you're not pleased, but I thought that was good. The defence was good. This might sound very arrogant, is that we wanted to get on tour without too much pressure. You know what I mean? Because you are at 4G on a Friday night, it can go wrong, might still go wrong. But no, we're not daunted by that. You did right. I think the truth is now we have to win 3 games in a row, and I don't think we know we're good enough to, given what we've done. It's very disappointing not to get at least 2 points out of today.
Eugene, it's very clear that John Dobson was emotional and maybe frustrated to an extent, but I'm sure, like you said earlier, he'll get them back up, and they know that this is a big game this coming weekend. It's going to be like a test match. The weather might be a bit better than it was against Connacht. There might be a bit less rain, so maybe the Stormers can play a bit more of their game, and we can see a bit more of Sasha and Damian Willemse. Hopefully, Damian Willemse is playing in a better position this week. So yeah, it will be very interesting. I think let's move to Franco. I think Franco Smith to me is one of those coaches that I always love in press conferences, because he doesn't use just cliches. When his team is outplayed, he clearly says they were the better team. And he made 2 statements in that thing. The one is that the Lions used their time, because remember, Glasgow, all their players were playing in the Six Nations. Then they came out and they had to play in the Champions Cup, 2 rounds, and that stage the Lions were resting. All their players were resting. So they had 3 weeks. The Lions had 3 weeks, and now Glasgow's players are tired. All the international players are tired. They had 21 weeks of high-intensity rugby. So they sent, I wouldn't say their B team, but not their full-strength team to Ellis Park, and they paid a price, and Franco admitted. And he said the key thing for me is, he said that their second tier, their depth is not as good as the South African teams. Their second tier of players is not what the South African teams have. And you come up against a hungry Lions team, well rested and well coached, as he calls it. Franco said they were well coached. And you strike a team like Glasgow, who's off par, hasn't got their full strength team, and you hit the Lions, and it's going to be a long day at the office, and it was.
Yes, I must tell you, I've got the world of respect for Franco Smith. I coached his brother, Emlia, who's at the Cheetahs now, and that's the sort of character he is. He gave credit. What I like what he said is, the Lions don't have a lot of Springboks, but they played like Springboks, which I thought was a great compliment for them, and he gave credit to the Lions. And let me tell you, that was a great performance. I know it's a big score. It wasn't that easy as what the score says. So, yeah, Franco is just one of those coaches. He'll take it on the chin. And I think if the Lions can put together another match like that, their set phases, their broken play, their defense, which I thought was great. Hopefully, I believe that Lions will win again this weekend. Maybe Connacht is on a high. Maybe the game was very physical for them. So it is really like this weekend I'm looking forward. It's like 2 test matches that we're going to see. But Franco, well done on him, giving the Lions the credit they need to. And yeah, depth, we all know that South African teams, we've got the most depth in the world in terms of rugby players. And I think when teams like Glasgow, some of the European teams get a few serious injuries in key positions, they got problems. They don't have the depth.
Yeah. You said it now, and I think maybe it's a good time to listen to Franco. The quality of the players, that fringe players, fringe Springbok players. They've got a couple of Springboks, but they've also got a lot of players who's just on the fringes of the Springbok team, who's not getting a look in, which means I think Franco called it international quality players. So let's listen to what Franco had to say about, first of all, his team's loss, but he was full of credit for the Lions and what he said about the Lions and the way forward for Glasgow.
I want to just say this, well done to the Lions. They've used this time away from rugby so well, and they looked fresh and quick tonight, and well coached, well drilled. You could see the plan that they've brought, and fantastic. Well, first of all, I want to start well done to them and their coaching team. It's going to be the merit sits there. They put us in a lot of pressure. They ask questions. The rest of my conversation is not about making excuses at all. It is just evident, in the fact that we the travel and the height above sea level was tonight for me more evident. I think there's different energy when you come across for a final maybe, but tonight I felt the travel and the change in temperature and everything was just a little bit too much for us. We saw that with Edinburgh a couple of months ago. It's not easy if you come out of winter. I think it was 6 degrees there when we left, and then to come out here and the field's a little bit heavier than what we used to. There's a lot of things, but so therefore I must stay true to my north this afternoon. I want to say they used the time well. So I would rather compliment them and said well done for using the time well. They could have just as well, come back and been average tonight, and they used the time well. And it is obviously the Six Nations period where the South African teams plays a little bit less, and then now with with the European Cup in the middle of everything, change in temperature, everything it's a hard, at least some difficult ingredients, and we're going to try and find the way to get it right. I thought we did it better this time, but it was evident. They've always had that. Maybe one or two of the results doesn't go their way, to travel to Europe for the EPCR games in the middle of all this. I mean, it challenges you as a team, and as they are finding their way that side, they are doing so well at home. So no, I think they're a good team. I'm glad they I think they probably secured the position in the top 8 now for this, and it's going to be not yet. So I haven't looked. No, that's evident. I don't look at the table. So I hope for them. They're a tough nut, and it's difficult to play against. You see, every game counts. Through the season, and in our build-up, and when we were before the Six Nations specifically, I thought we were playing some really good rugby and we wanted to hand the boys over to Scotland in really good condition. We were playing well in European Cup, getting some reward for the work there. But it becomes now, it's now 21 weeks, I think 21, 22 weeks of highly tense rugby. It's good to have a lot of internationals in your team, but they don't rest in the Six Nations. 23 of them go and play, and they come back and you demand mentally more from them. So it is through the 4 years that I've been in this part of the year, at home or away, it's always difficult to manage until the playoffs. Well, there's one or two players in the forward pack that maybe doesn't fit the size bill, but they play some really good and quality. They're very good athletes, and they get around the park, and the brand that they play here suits them so well. So yes, again, what makes the Lions a very good team to play against, they've got Springbok-like players, but they're not Springboks. So the same with I suppose the Bulls and the Sharks and the Stormers. The most valuable players are the guys that's good enough to be Springboks, but they're not Springboks, and they make the difference at the club level. So our second choice in comparison to what our second choice international, in comparison to what the second choice international is, difference. There's a difference in that some players. So I think the strength for the Lions sits that they've got so many good players that's ready to play for South Africa, but they're not playing for South Africa. That makes it a good club side to have.
Eugene, interesting from Franco, but let's move on to the winning teams, Lions and the Bulls. Let's start with the Lions. They're playing Connacht. They're hosting Connacht. What is your view? What do you think? Will the Lions be as dominant as they were against Glasgow, or is this Connacht team a very different or challenging team?
No, that's going to be a very, very, very interesting game, because the Lions really were clinically on top of it. And I believe that Cash and Jacques and Wessel and them, they will get the guys to fire again. They're in a good position now, and they will want to build on that momentum. So let's look at Connacht. Connacht this weekend were really, for me, played above their, they punched above their weight, and they really were good. So if they can bring that same game up north, where we also know they're going to have a problem with a height above sea level, and the oxygen might just be too little for them to play in that last 20 minutes. But if they can bring that sort of game, it's going to be a close game, a tough game. But I believe the Lions have got so much belief and momentum. The guys are well conditioned. I believe they're going to win that game. I don't know. I guess the Connacht supporters might crucify me, but they're going to also want to see Connacht produce two games like they did against the Stormers after each other. I don't know if that's possible.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. Going back to back at that intensity is challenging. Plus, playing at altitude, that's a very different game from playing at sea level. You know, when the oxygen starts running out and the Lions start getting on a roll, they're going to have a problem. But I think the Lions challenge, for me, the Lions challenge is not this is what happens after Connacht. You know, they go to Leinster, they travel to Dublin to play Leinster, which is on a roll, and then they travel to Munster. So you know, 2 away games. So that makes this coming Saturday's game for the Lions very, very important, because they're sitting 4th at the moment. But if they have 3 losses, they can drop out of the top 8. So they haven't secured their playoff place yet. So they need to get 4 or 5 or maybe even 6 points in the next 3 rounds. So they need to get at least 1 win, which most likely this Saturday is their best chance. And then at Leinster, yeah, you know, I know coaches will tell you, no, we always go for the win. The reality is, going to Dublin for the Lions, they're gonna, the best they can hope for is a couple of bonus points. And at Munster, who knows? You know, that's also playing in Ireland for any South African, unless you live there. It's a challenge to come from here and play there and play in front of their fans. So I think the Lions' big challenge is once they hit the road after this.
Yes, Jan, this weekend is a must-win for them. But I've got a feeling, you know, also Leinster up there, they've not been performing like they're not that consistent side, just winning every team easy with a big margin. And so nothing is impossible. If the Lions can pull off a win this weekend, that belief will even be stronger. Maybe it's time for us to give the Irish a bit of hiding there in Ireland. And I know it's difficult. Munster and Leinster, both difficult teams to play against. But I've got a good feeling about the games, and I'm an optimist again, and supporting the Lions and the South African sides. But the coach will tell you now he's not even interested. Most probably they've done their preparation already and worked on their time scales, when to rest and when to prepare for the other games. But they will be 100% focusing on the match of this weekend.
Yeah, I think this is a good point when we switch to the Bulls. In my view, the team that's got the easy, I wouldn't say easy, you've got to be so careful sometimes, you know, you say easy and then they go and lose. But I think the Bulls has got the most preferable run into the playoffs. This weekend, after having played so well this past weekend, this weekend they play Scarlets, you know, and yes, they are away, but you expect them, you know, if they play the same that they did, that they will come away with points, and then they return home. And then they got Zebre and Benetton at home. So you can expect the Bulls to get 10, 15 points in the last 3 rounds. And suddenly they're up in the top 4.
I would love to see that. And they were so, you know, this weekend just against the Dragons, I think it was 47-7 was the score. I thought the Bulls were back in their traditional physical game. They were very physical. Cameron's playing well. The guys that came back from injuries playing well. Papier is, to me, still one of the best scrummers in the country currently. So I thought that was it was just all in all a good performance by the Bulls, and they will hopefully now acclimatize being up north there. And who knows? You know, Jan, as a coach, any coach will tell you, if you have a good win, the coaches these days don't become complacent anymore. They focus. They know if we pull this one off, they can actually, I think they can end in the top 2 or 3. And that's, I back them to win this game.
Yeah, I agree with you. They've got a really good chance to finish much higher than they are at the moment. And I would put money on them. I said before last week's games already, I said that I can see the Bulls getting 20 points out of their last 4 games. Because it's possible. They can still get 15 points. And if they get 15 points out of the last 3 games, they can finish in the top 2 because things can happen. We know that this weekend either the Stormers or Glasgow is going to win, which means that gives the Bulls a chance to close that gap. And the teams ahead of them can also potentially lose. The Lions have got a tough game, so the Bulls can jump them again. So much can happen in the last 3 weeks. So it's not beyond the realms of possibility that the Bulls finish in the top 2 at the end of the season.
Now that's why I love this competition. It's open. Nothing is in set in play. Nobody is guaranteed of their positions yet. So they will be fighting for home playoffs, as we discussed earlier.
Eugene, I want to finish off with this question to you. Do you think we can have a South African clean sweep this weekend, or is it just too much to ask?
I've got a good feeling about all our teams this weekend coming. And how great will it be for our teams in our country, especially if you follow social media. The moment South African teams lose against the Northern Hemisphere teams, everybody's on social media saying, we're overrated, blah, 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 all the stuff. But I think we stand a good chance this weekend to have 4 out of 4.
Well, Eugene, let's leave it there. We hope for a clean sweep by South Africans. And just before we go, we've got a special podcast for you that we're going to do later this week. And look out for that. It's all the way from Japan. We spoke to somebody in Japan. Till later this week, until next week, from myself, Jan de Koning.
And Lofi Elof, cheers and enjoy the rugby. Let's support all the South African sides.